Am I?
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
This is why you carry a fire extinguisher when you're running a Weber carburettor or maybe any Pinto engine. Let's go and have a look at Ruby's engine bay that's on fire. Okay, so what's happened? And I've warned people about this, and when I recently refurbed the top end of the engine, I didn't put my zip tie back. I didn't put the zip tie back on this item here, and you're supposed to, because Weber's crap design means that this pulls out of the carb and sprays fuel all over your engine, and then you get an engine fire just like we've had here. But luckily, because we always know where the fire extinguisher is, I always have it in the same place. Well, either the seat or in the boot. In this case, it was in the boot, in the box, ready to go, and it saved Ruby's engine and saved Ruby's car from going up like the Minder Capri. This pipe is your enemy. You've got to tie it in or thread it in or adapt round this bad push fit fitting. Terrible. Look what we've done. We can get it fixed, but there's a lot of damage. I don't understand how that's shorted out. I don't know how it's got to that point. How it's managed to short those cables, unless flames were sucking down here. There must have been a fireball, but isn't the engine bay? I don't think it's burnt.
No.
Bit of brake here now, and
Yeah. Me and with these for Kings are towing. You've got to like drag in really, haven't you?
I am.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so we go from a mint engine bay only less than a couple of weeks ago to a really nice detailed bay that I'd done to this disaster. And as you saw there, some filming courtesy of Andy the Lens, thanks Andy for that. We've got the fire. Now, obviously, I did know about this weakness on the carburetors, and I think this is why some Capris have gone up this way, other Escorts have gone up this way, and a lot of Cortinas. This brass fitting here does not secure itself into the body of the Weber carburetor very well and vibrates out. Some people have tapped and threaded these. Now what I do is that's why that Jubilee clip's at the end of the tube here, and what I do is I zip tie the end of that round, and it stops it from coming out. Under normal situations, they really shouldn't come out, but they tend to find we've tend to have found that they have vibrated out. It's happened to me once before, or only once before. Okay, so what happened is this vibrated out, and that might have been going over time, and then it's free to spray the fuel everywhere until it stalls. Well, there's enough fuel in the carburettor on the Pinto, on the Weber carburettor at least. And in the fuel line itself, well, I say fuel line, it's only if this had come off, you've actually got no fuel line. But if it comes off further down, or there's another fault, you've got enough fuel there in the bowl, is really what I mean to say. In the bowl of the carburettor, there's enough fuel to run, maybe 30 seconds, a minute's worth of running. And in that time, a hell of a lot of damage can happen, because this is now pumping fuel all over the place, and that fuel is only a matter of time before it ignites. Now, it looked like in my case here that the pipe stayed underneath the air filter, and that's why you've got the fire like it is. But I would say that the fire would have spread from probably igniting on the ignition leads, because it hasn't reached across to this side, I don't think, although we could see evidence of it flashing across. No, it's not been over this side, okay? It's simply gathered underneath here and burnt through, and then it's caught fire inside the airbox, which has drawn in to the carburettor. We're hoping the carburettor survived. So what happened then after that was the engine stalled because it's out of fuel. But also, my warning was that the oil light came on first before the engine stalled. Why did the oil light come on? Because it burnt through the oil pipe, the oil gauge pipe. This is the oil pressure pipe to the oil pressure gauge. It burnt through it, and the only way it could have burnt through that pipe is if flames, and indeed you can see it here, flames are getting sucked and blown through down underneath. So there must have been a real huge fireball, although luckily it's hit some of the rare parts, hasn't damaged the heater box. Look, we're lucky at the damage. It's not gone up the top, not gone on the vac hose. So it's just been kept low down, and indeed so low down that it's melted the starter wires, look. And indeed it actually shorted the starter wires so that the starter motor was permanently running, and that's what I couldn't understand. When I pulled up and I saw the smoke, the engine had stalled at this point. The oil light had come on first, then it stalled just around the almost identical same time. And then as I pulled up, we're lucky to be on that slipway just off the main dual carriageway there on the M66 we were on, and the engine was still turning over. couldn't work it out. Hopefully I haven't done any damage there. Certainly if the ring gear is intact, it's able to turn over, so the ring gear must have survived. Starter motor's still running because it melted all the cables. All these, the starter cable. They'd all fused together and made it permanently run. So the flames have been getting drawn down there, and you can see very easily how a car can go up. Perhaps the one on the Minder car, SLE car, is it 715R? I can't remember. SLE, the Minder one. Maybe the flames licked into the bay and the dashboard like this has done. Perhaps this is something that all Pinto owners should be aware of. Now what saved me was I always have a fire extinguisher in the car. So we'll flip you around, let's have a little chat. A bit out of breath because I have been pushing the car into the garage. Always have a high vis in the boot, in the toolkit in the boot, and always have a fire extinguisher there. Because obviously, you never know.